Hey guys, welcome to today's video. In today's video, I'm gonna break down my outlook for Nasdaq and also a bit of a recap from last week's trade, right? So last week I was expecting, I was quite bullish on Nasdaq, right? Last week I was quite bullish on Nasdaq. Had a couple of reasons why, right? Amongst the reason was that price was based over a significant demand zone, and then price has been oversold, as you can see, and then with some divergences creating and stuff. So I was quite a bit. I was not a bit, but I was very bullish on Nasdaq because I also saw these like tweezer bottoms here that have been formed, which indicated like very strong reversals at this point. And then and we just ranged. We arranged it for the whole of last week, right? Hence, I was like, you know what, guys, before I take any trade, I've got two scenarios to play out. The first scenario is anticipating price to break obviously the high of the previous weekly or the previous Friday candle that we had for last week, right? Last week I was like, if you break the high of this candle on a Friday, we can expect proper reversals to the upside. But then if we do break structure to the downside, the low of the previous Friday, we should continue. I'm probably gonna continue with the trend, right? So those are the two scenarios that I did have, and I was waiting for price to develop a bit more. But we didn't have any development until Friday, right? Until Friday and Thursday, because this was like a Monday, right? Monday we just had a bit of a push into last week's candles in balance, and then and then Tuesday we still formed an inside bar of the Friday candlestick, and then Wednesday we had a bit of expansion, breaking structure both to the upside and the downside, which is indecisive, and then came Thursday is when we had a break of structure by a week, right? Break of structure by a week, we didn't fully break. And then Friday came in and then we pushed on, right? So I was quite bullish on this setup. And as you can see, there was a lot of indications for bullishness because we kept on rejecting the downside, right? Kept on rejecting the downside. But I feel like most of it was based on fundamentals, the reason why we pushed the downside, even though like the market is generally based on the fundamentals. But this was like because we had like the Bank of England announced some fundamentals that affected Nasdaq in a negative way. And I did send some of that article on the group to just highlight to you guys that this is what's currently happening on the fundamental landscape. But yeah, so that was last week. So now that we've broken structure to the downside, right? I'm looking for potential continuation setups at this moment on a higher time frame. I'm looking for potential reversals. For potential continuations. But if you're gonna have reversals, I'll probably look for price to take out this daily high, right? If you take out this daily high that was formed on a Friday, right, for Tuesday and Monday, if you take out this daily high, this zone I can look out like for potential reversals, right? Potential reversals. But if you don't take out this high, I'll be still looking for bearish moves, right? For bearish moves to continue to the downside. Right, so there isn't much of imbalance left here that we can pull back to, but I'll look for key levels and order blocks that we might retrace to and potentially continue with the trend, right? So that's on Nasdaq, right? That's on Nasdaq. But when it comes to correlation with other pairs, right? The DXY, obviously we saw Nasdaq drop to the downside, and I think I highlighted last week that correlation is a huge confluence to how I analyze the market, right? Because I believe the DXY, which is the dollar index, is inversely correlated to Nasdaq, right? So when we see the DXY pushing to the downside, we're expecting Nasdaq to push to the upside, right? And when we see it push to the upside, expecting Nasdaq to push to the downside, right? So as you can see evidently here, for the past months, the DXY has been pushing to the upside, right? While as Nasdaq has been pushing to the downside, right? So we're expecting Nasdaq to reversal at this point because of this DXY movement. Hence I was bullish, right? Hence I was bullish for last week. And also I looked at the VIX, right? The VIX, as you can see, it's quite on a strong supply zone, right? Quite on a strong supply zone. We are like at a 32 mark. So I'm looking at price to reverse the plus having rejections and prices overbought and all that stuff, and it has been saturated, right? So all these are quite indications for me to be bullish, right? But then we're gonna have to wait for price. To indicate to us, because price is like our holy grail. We need to wait for price to actually show us and confirm every other bias and confluence that we build on any other correlated pairs. Gotta wait for structure to indicate to us that okay, now we're gonna reverse, and then we can jump on potential buys, right? But yeah, we did break to the downside. We won't try to force analysis or whatever. So I'll be looking for sales until we break structure on this high, on this major high, right? Once we break structure on the major high, then I can look for potential reversals. Yeah, so the higher time frame fundamentals are quite bullish in terms of other controls that I do use. It's only Nasdaq price that has broken structure, so I'll be looking for sales. So going on the lower time frame, right? Going on the lower time frame to kind of identify some potential setups, right? So this was a trade that I did take. The last trade that I did take off Nasdaq, right? This is a good trade. I think I posted it on the group. This last week was the last trade that I did take. So as you can see here, once the fundamentals took place, because I said, guys, watch out for fundamentals that are coming, right? So once fundamentals did take place, I set out this bullish setups, and I'm still looking for buys. I was looking for buys because we had massive rejection, and then I was like, I'm looking for buys to probably reach these levels and take my profits because it's a Friday, right? It's a Friday. So price came all the way to this order block, jumped on this buy setup, and then and yeah, these were my entries. Took some good entries on that trade, and I definitely exited as quickly as I could as price switches towards my 2% reward, right? I decided to take out some positions and just let one position run just in case I might push to the upside. But yeah, guys, that's the last trade that I did take. So for this coming week, I'll be looking at price to probably get back into this swing, right? So I'd like to identify my swing highs and swing lows. So this is the swing high for me, and then this is the swing low, right? So let me just take out this. So this is the swing low. As we can see, we had some structure formations where we had price swing to the downside, right? And then it pulled back into this imbalance, and then we had price drop. And now I'll be looking at price to probably go into this imbalance right here, right? As my first entry setup, and then my second setup is gonna be price going all the way to like the 80 levels of the fib, right? So I'll be looking at price to draw all the way to those levels of the swing, right? To draw those levels of the swing. So let me just try to highlight those levels. So this is the high, and then I'll see price to go towards this low. Yeah, and this is gonna be my OTE level. So I'm looking for potential entries within these imbalances, right? So let me just try to highlight that. I'll be looking for price to reach these imbalances for my potential entries on this setup, right? If not that level, I'll be looking at price to reach this level and probably reverse it to the downside. So I'm always having 2 points of interest, right? I'm always having 2 points of interest, and I do enter on both points of interest and make sure that I do mitigate my risk, obviously depending on how big the level is, right? I mean how big the zone is, right? So yeah, I'll try to send an update because this is just a Monday morning, and we're gonna have to wait for price to develop a bit more for me to come up with proper entry levels and the likes. This is just out of hindsight what I'll be looking out for. But yeah, guys, we're gonna have to wait. We're gonna see what price has to offer. On a Tuesday, I'll try to send a recap of my analysis, whether we're gonna continue with the buys, with the sales, or we're gonna reverse, right? We just have to adapt the market. We wait for the market to do its thing and then react off what the market shows us, right? So yeah, guys, hopefully you do have a good trading week. Make sure you stay alert on the group. I'll be sending a lot of setups each and every day like I do. London session, expect the setup in the London session almost every day, because I like to trade the London Open, right? I like to trade the London Open, and yeah, sometimes I'll come in and trade New York, but it's not usually often, especially if I manage to make profits out of the London session. I don't dare go into the New York session and trade because the New York session can be quite volatile. Maybe wait for the London close to come in. This is when I can probably engage with the market. But yeah, guys, hopefully you do have a good trading week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Alright, guys, see you in the next video.